Today we are talking about things you need to check out for or things you need to consider before buying a car. Hey guys, how are you doing? I don't have a car yet, and some of you get to ask me to share my experience about getting a car. I got my car last year. This video is actually long overdue because this request has been there, but I'm happy we're here eventually. So I got my car last year October, but no, what am I saying? 2021 October, right? I'm here to do a review. Tell me if you like to see that video. That's if I've not done it already. Tell me if you like to see that video. And I'm very happy to share with you today things you need to consider. I'll say things I considered before purchasing a car here in the UK. So before I think about buying a car, or before anybody who wants to buy a car goes ahead to do it, I think one of the valid questions you should ask yourself is if you do need a car. Because I, for example, live in London and the transportation system here is amazing, right? But then I knew that I needed a car even after asking myself this question or telling myself there is good transportation system. And my reason is because I do have children, right? I have a family, and running a family, especially with children, requires a level of comfort, requires a level of flexibility, and I'm somebody that does well when I have my things organized, right? Like, for example, when I start my day, I like to organize my space so I have a clear space and clear focus on what I intend to do through the day. So having a car helps me plan my day and run my life sharp, if you understand, other than having to wait for the public transport and then the inconvenience of pulling child 1, child 2, child 3. You need to go for school run, you need to do grocery, all of that. So in order to properly manage my time and fit in activity within a workable and productive time frame, I knew that having a car is paramount. So this is the type of question and analysis you need to make within yourself to establish your reason for wanting to buy a car. So now that we know that, let's say I want to agree that we're now on the same page, yeah? You want to have a car because you need to get a car. Let's get right into it. Okay, for all that I know and all that I stand for, I prioritize value for money. Okay, so when I wanted to buy a car, I thought to myself that whatever car I want to buy now has to be valuable, be durable, and give me my money's worth. I don't just want to buy any car, and I am not looking or pitched my head towards buying a luxury car either. So I just want something in the middle. As a matter of fact, it was going to be my first official personal car. Subsequently, I'm somebody who loves cars. Okay, I love to drive the latest Mercedes-Benz in town, the latest Range Rover. But that will not be my first car. That will not be what I'll use to run errands every now and then, like jump and go. So these are the things I considered before deciding on the type of vehicle I want to go for. So I knew that I want a small portable car, and something else, engine size was very important to me. So I wanted a small engine size. I think my engine size is about 1 point something. 1.6 thereabout. So engine size is very key, which talks about fuel efficiency. So you're also going to look here in the UK, what type of car are you going for? Is it a petrol car or a diesel car? I will say petrol cars or petrol vehicles, primarily because I think it doesn't have that smell. Naturally, I personally don't like this smell, one kind of smell that comes out from vehicle. Petrol cars usually don't. On my car, for example, I said I'm going to do a car review, right? So I'm going to go more in depth in the features of my own car, right? So I just mentioned features. So features are things to look out for in a car as well. What type of car? What feature do you want in a car? I mentioned earlier that I just didn't want just any car. So I wanted specific features that can serve me the purpose of what I want a car for. I want a car that is reliable. I do not want a car that is push and start. Do you know what I mean? I do not want a car that's going to get me stuck on the road and delay my time, because it's going to be counterproductive what I intend a car for in the first place. So you want to consider MOT. Here in the UK, they check something called MOT. That's your road, the roadworthiness of your car, to check that it fits environmental standards and safety. This is why you don't want to buy an old dilapidated vehicle, right? So I hear some people say if you go to Gumtree, you get a car that is as cheap as £500, £1,000, £2,000, and I ask myself, please, what type of vehicle is that? So these are the things you need to check. Have your budget. Know how much you're willing to spend. This leads me to the next point: loan and lease, right? Check if you, our advice, you go more for, tilt towards loan, especially if it's your first car, given what I wanted myself, than lease, because with loan you're financing to own the car compared to lease. Lease could be cheaper and give you the variety or the option of changing or having different vehicles, even luxury vehicles, but at the end of the day you're not owning this vehicle. So if you want, I'll say, if you're getting a first car, it's best you're going for it to buy it and own it. Also, speaking of these vehicles, after I mentioned MOT, something that goes in line with MOT is insurance and tax. Some vehicles are taxable, some vehicles are not. Insuring certain vehicles are more expensive than insuring others. My car, for example, is zero tax, so I do not pay any tax for my vehicle, primarily because I think it's hybrid. So the fact that it's hybrid, it has zero emission, so I do not have to pay tax. So these are the things. Imagine if I had bought, maybe I wanted a cheaper option that is not the spec of my vehicle, I'm going to have to be paying tax every year. So this is something to consider when checking price. Also, for insuring my vehicle, given that it is a modern vehicle and in excellent condition, insuring my vehicle isn't expensive. And when it comes to insurance, the overall cost of the vehicle matters. I want to believe that insuring a less expensive car versus a luxury car, I want to believe that of a less expensive car will be cheaper than insuring a luxury car, say like a Lamborghini or a Ferrari, or let's say, to be more realistic, a Toyota versus maybe a Range Rover. I might not be totally correct, but this is just what I think in terms of insurance. I believe these insurance companies, they calculate the risk and so many things that could possibly happen and how much they might get spent if they'll need to replace your vehicle in case of eventualities. So these are the things to check as well when making your choice of a vehicle. And why I say this is important, like this insurance one, for example, I'm saying for starters, for beginners, right? At the point in your life, you might not be looking to spend so much money on a car because a car is not an asset, it is a liability. You do not want to compound the liability-ness of it, you know what I'm saying? So you want to go for something that will be overall affordable for you. Why this is very important is if you compare it to other countries where they do not pay insurance, even if you buy a Range Rover or the latest Mercedes-Benz, you buy it and you go. But here in countries like this one, you have to, it's the money you get to pay afterwards that matters. So check how much this car is going to incur over the years, how much it will cost you to keep this vehicle versus the original price. And this is still not to say to go very low to buying dilapidated vehicles or very cheap vehicles, because maintaining cheap vehicles, as a matter of fact, is equally quite expensive, because those kind of vehicles, their MOTs are usually more expensive. When you take them to the MOT centers, you get to spend so much more money. The tax on those vehicles are usually more, and then they might just not be reliable. So you just have to find that middle ground. That's why I'm giving you most of the details you need to know. Again, this particular point is very important. Our advice, go for certified vehicles. People tend to buy pre-owned vehicles, right? I'll advise you go to dealership, go to certified owners. This is also alongside the advice of considering buying pre-owned, okay, instead of thinking straight to go and buy a brand new car. Unless you're Dangote or Mark Zuckerberg. I'm not saying we cannot buy, we can buy brand new cars, but wait first. I don't think buying brand new car is our priority for now in life. Let us build. There's so many other things we need to acquire in terms of asset other than a vehicle, if this is how you reason. So go for pre-owned, fairly used vehicles. And when checking for a car, this point is very close linked to what I'm currently saying. look at the mileage. Now one might ask, mileage versus the year of vehicle or how old the vehicle is, which is more important? I'll say mileage, because even if the car is produced last year or last 2 years, for example, and the mileage is say 50,000 miles or 60,000 miles, that car, how about they go here? You know what I'm saying? It has been done dirty, in my own opinion. So you want to go for a vehicle that has lower mileage. On the average here in the UK, it's about 9,000 to 10,000 miles on an average. So when I bought my car, it was about 10,000 miles, right? So you don't want to go anything above 14 to 15,000 miles if you want a very good vehicle. And this is not to say vehicles, there are people who buy cars that are like 40,000 miles and it's still good. You know, when they take it to the MOT, everything still looks good. That's still okay, but just know what you're checking. Consider mileage of a vehicle. It goes a lot in telling the durability and reliability of a vehicle. I've mentioned, go to a dealership, go to the main car showroom. I don't advise people buying on the roadside or garages. No, go to dealership and pick up a vehicle so you get the certificate and you're sure of what you get. When I got mine at the dealership, they told me if I drive it for I think a month and I'm not satisfied, I can return it. Makes sense, doesn't it? And finally, I'll say consider resale value of a vehicle. In case tomorrow you decide to resell your vehicle, you want to be sure that the vehicle you're buying has good resale value, so that at the end of the day you can get something back from the car should you decide to sell. I hope this video helped you some sort. Let me know what you think in the comment section. I'll see you in the next video.